all across America and around the world. This is Veterans Radio. This is Veterans Radio.
Welcome to Veterans Radio. I am Jim Fausone. I'm the officer of the deck today. We've got some great programs for you. We always want to remind you you can find more about Veterans Radio at its Facebook site or at the web, veteransradio.org, where we're on the web 24/7. You can find a lot of our podcasts there as well. We post new ones every Tuesday, so you can get a new story, a new interview, something you didn't know before by going to veteransradio.org. And before we get started, we want to thank our sponsors. First up, we want to thank National Veteran Business Development Council, nvbdc.org. It was established to certify both service-disabled and veteran-owned businesses. You'll find out how they can help your business by going to nvbdc.org. We want to thank Legal Help for Veterans. Legal Help for Veterans fights for veterans' disability rights all across the nation. You can reach them at 800-693-4800 or on the web at legalhelpforveterans.com. And finally, Puroclean. Puroclean is the paramedics of property damage. It provides water damage remediation, flood water removal, fire and smoke damage remediation, mold removal, biohazard cleanup. It also has a focus on veteran franchisees. You can learn more about them by going to Puroclean.com. This is Veterans Radio's Spotlight on Puroclean franchises. Puroclean's a leader in property emergency services, helping families and business overcome the devastating setbacks caused by water, fire, mold, tornadoes, all kinds of problems. We'll be talking about that. It's independently owned franchisees that do this work and respond in their community. Puroclean is known as the paramedics of property damage, providing this remediation and restoration services for all sorts of commercial and residential customers. Puroclean.com is where you can check them out some more. But today we have with us George Hernandez, Army veteran, who's Senior Vice President of Operations at Puroclean. George, welcome to Veterans Radio.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to some fellow veterans.
Well, and you brought along with you UL Armstrong, a 33-year Army officer, colonel I think it is, retired, who also has owns a couple of franchises down in Texas. UL, welcome to Veterans Radio.
Hey, thank you. Great to be here. Enjoying the weather down here and appreciate the opportunity.
Well, every location in the country has different sorts of calamities that strike. So maybe there are tornadoes down in Texas. Maybe it's snow melt up here in the northern states. But George, why don't you start? Tell us a little bit about what Puroclean does, what its franchisees do.
Absolutely. So our main focus is restoration of property damage, right? So unfortunately, bad things happen. And we always say, a person's home or a person's business is typically their biggest asset. So just like an ambulance would respond to somebody in a time of crisis for their health, we respond to a crisis of their property, whether it's fire, water, mold, biohazard, and events happen throughout the year, throughout the country. There's always something going on that's affecting people's property, and that's what we thrive on. We thrive on helping customers get back to a little bit of normalcy through relentless customer service, because we understand they're going through a very difficult time at the moment.
UL, can you expand a little bit about what physically is done on projects? You have two franchisees, locations down there in Texas, but help us understand how you help the community and the customers, kind of boots on the ground.
Well, I think it starts with, again, my background, of course, in the military, it's about selfless service and making the impact it's important. And that's what you're essentially doing. You're making an impact through continued service and being able to do that and make a difference in people's lives. It's over the top. And it's really important that you see it as that. And being in the military, we know more than anything about, again, providing that service and through a lot of sacrifice. At the end of the day, you're coming when someone is most vulnerable through a circumstance, whether it's a water loss or in my case, I do a lot of mold remediation, or if it's a trauma scene cleanup. You're coming in people's lives when they're very vulnerable and they're going through a significant event in their life. So it's really important that you, again, make an impact and you build that peace of mind. I like to tell my team and others, we build peace of mind. Again, it's about relentless customer service, but it's about giving that client, not just a customer. And that's the beauty of what I do and what Puroclean does is we treat those people that are going through this problem as clients and helping them through this tragedy or circumstance and building that peace of mind. And that's in my opinion is crucial.
George, you've been in the industry a long time, in the franchise industry, and why is franchising, if you're a veteran and you want to be a business owner, why should you look at franchising and why should you look at Puroclean?
Well, one of the biggest benefits to franchising is the support you receive when you're opening a business. Like, opening a business is difficult, right? There's so many unknowns. There's so many different tasks and compliances and just things that a business owner has to get through. And when you don't have that support from a franchise network, then you're out there kind of on an island by yourself, right? And in the military, I always reverted back to that. We work great as a team, right? Very rarely do you have individuals out there just by themselves. As a team, and the support that we give you as a franchise system, it sets you up for success because we're guiding you through the process of being an independently owned and operated franchise. However, you have a network of fellow franchise owners, support staff, and just individuals that have been doing this for a very long time, helping you guide through the way.
And as we kind of drill down on this, UL, you spent 33 years in the Army, retired as a colonel, and somewhere along the line at the end of that 33 years, you're thinking, I want to go do something. What am I going to do in my next chapter? How did you zero in on, I want to be a business owner and I want to be in franchising?
Well, I think the biggest thing with me, again, after my short career in the military, one of the things it's obvious is I like the structure. Thriving with structure is very important, and Puroclean and really the franchising, it offers a lot of that organizational structure that George so eloquently spoke out on. It's very important not just to reinvent the wheel. Hey, you're dealing with individuals that have are there to assist you as you work your way into this adventure of owning a franchise. You're working with other veterans. George, again, he's a vet. He owned a franchise, and someone such as him with a lot of valuable advice and a lot of valuable experience, provides that to owners such as myself and help. And that's what this Puroclean is all about. It's helping not only clients, but it's also helping other veterans that are owners and helping the other owners. So it's a learning organization, and that's valuable. Can't even put it in words to what that meant to me and that positive environment. That was one of my non-negotiables as I was coming off active duty, being in an organization that not only had that structure, but also that leadership buy-in. When you've got owners, CEOs that are there to ensure that their staff helped you, guide you through the ownership process or owning a franchise and then working your way to be successful. That's really important. And there's some other non-negotiables, but those were the highlight of what led me to Puroclean.
And as we close out this first segment, George, talk a little bit about Puroclean's commitment to veterans and its program.
So at Puroclean, it starts from the very top. Our owners and our president and COO, Steve White, is also a veteran. He was an Army captain. So the relationship that we have with our veteran community is very strong. Uh, we value the fact that veterans, you know, when they come out of the service, they have that structure, they have that discipline. But what's similar in, especially in combat arms, is that controlled chaos, and that's a lot of what we deal with. We have a program. It's called Purovet, and what we do is we help veterans transition from the military world into the civilian world, but also maintaining a level of structure and a level of, hey, this industry, you will not be bored. You will not be in a monotonous job because it is different every day. Different situations present themselves, different opportunities to help people. And it's being able to transition for that. And with Purovet, we offer them a discount on the franchise fee. And we also help guide them through this process of transitioning over.
That's a great point of how to help veterans transition, and I want to direct people to Puroclean.com and look for the Purovet program. You'll get more information. But let me pick up on something you mentioned, George, and I think this is true for a lot of people. They want something different every day. They don't, if you've been in the service, you're used to structure, but you're also used to like changing orders. Talk a little bit about the size of this industry and how things can really be different every day.
So our industry is very unique. It is actually a very large industry. Most people don't realize that the restoration space is about a $210 billion space. But with that being said, every job is slightly different. Like under our brand, we do, our core services include water restoration, fire, mold, and biohazard. But we also have some additional services like reconstruction services, janitorial specialty cleaning, and opportunities to go outside the core services. But even when you're just talking about our core services, like a water damage in a 3-bedroom home is handled totally different than a water damage in a 3-story commercial space. So even though you're doing the same type of work, every job is unique. And it's like, I always relate it back to the military where every mission is slightly different. Even though you might have the same objective, you're going to approach it in a different way and in a different technique. And it's what keeps it exciting and interesting because you never know what you're going to get on the next call.
No, that's right. I think that's what makes business interesting. UL, as you started this business career in 2020 when you got out, you had your first franchise, you've added a second one, you were up to 11 employees. Whatever made you think as a 33-year Army officer, oh yeah, I can go do this? I mean, did you have this like amazing background in business or something?
No, absolutely not. My background was, I was as we call it, bugs and gas officer. I was a chem bio. So kind of nerdy, geeky, but again, dealing with adversity and being in situations that were uncomfortable. You're dealing with very dangerous chemicals, nerve agent or some type of blister agent. But at the end of the day, it's dealing with adversity and challenges in developing decision making to problem solve whatever that issue is. WMD elimination, which is again was my forte. But at the end of the day, I think what George said really brings it home when mentioning about the organized chaos, being able to take that and make decisions on the fly. Every day is not, or every project isn't necessarily the same. That requires the same problem. In the end, you want the same result, the proper mitigation to occur on whether it's a water job or a bio job or a mold job. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of challenges and adversities that are sometimes not the same. So working through that adversity and challenges and accomplishing the mission are all too well of what vets are used to.
One of the things that I think is attractive in the franchise world is the ability for you to run the business in a structure, but also to provide gainful employment to family members. UL, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, that is really, really important too, because again, just having employees and going through the process of finding qualified technicians and office staff, but also supporting potentially family members that may have a strength that you can utilize. Especially when you have certain family members that have kids or young adults that are looking for summer work. Hey, I need some strong backs to help me with some of my projects. So that support stream, that's a healthy support stream to families that work for you and providing potential opportunities. So I have employees where I have a husband and a wife, so I have a team within a team, and that says something about, again, our organization, but it also says something about the employees that I have, that they're willing to see what I bring to our organization and follow and into a successful outcome.
Well, I really think in small business too, it's about the family. It's the family like relationship between franchisee and franchisor, but also the franchisee in running their business. You've got to have a family connection as a small business where people go above and beyond, and it sounds like you've been able to do that, and that's incredible. But George, let me.
I think that's crucial.
Go ahead.
I think that's definitely crucial, and seeing that that relationship that happens not just outside of the structure, but the relationship that happens inside the structure. One of the things that, which again, being an Army guy, I'm big on acronyms. It's I told my team that we have pride, and pride for me is professionalism with the P. We exude professionalism in what we do, and then the other is respect, respecting not only our clients but also respecting each other and treating ourselves or treating others in a manner in which we want to be treated. And then there's also with the I, integrity. That's really important as a small business. You get out of what you put into this, and having clients at the end of the day realize that it's about your integrity, and your service says one thing, but ensuring that they see that integrity is important in what you do. And then the D is dedication, and that's where I'm driving a lot of things, making sure that we stay on track with projects, and ensuring that we don't forget about the relentless customer service. And then the E, which is again completes that pride, it's the empathy, dealing with people when they're at their most vulnerable, and we do that a lot in the field. When you're dealing with people you're in their house and they have a mold issue and they can't figure it out, they have a musty odor, they can't figure out how to resolve this. Well, you're their hero when you get it figured out, along with that mold assessor, and you get that certificate stating that hey, now their house is clear and they don't have to worry about those health issues. Same thing with some of the other projects, whether it's a water job, and you come back and you dry their house out properly, so that they can now get on with their lives as other things may happen. But at the end of the day, you're there to offer that assistance with empathy, and not there to judge, but to take care of them and their home. So.
Well, and you're doing it in your community. You're demonstrating that pride to customers who are in your community that you associate with. You go to games with. You go to bump into the grocery store. I think that's also got to be pretty fulfilling, doesn't it?
Yes, and again, that's the service. You're in the community. You're providing that service. Now, everything. I mean, yes, we got to make money, but at the end of the day, it's done with, again, pride and having that integrity and doing what's right, and doing that. You run into, even in a big town, you run into people within certain corners, or again, the internet brings us all together, closer together, and so they see how well you're doing, whether it's a radio interview or whether it's I was at my kid's. She graduated from Texas last week, and I had a client saw me on the TV and said something to me. But again, it's about service, being in the community, and offering a service that at the same time, when you have a client that's at their wits' end and they have a challenge in front of them, you're there to help them get through that challenge with some resolve, empathy, and some great problem solving skills, which I think, in my opinion, veterans do above and beyond, and solving problems with clients for good outcome.
And I want to ask George, as the Senior Vice President of Operations for Puroclean, I think a lot of people might be listening to this and going, man, I'd be interested in that, but yeah, I don't know if I've got the money to pull it off. And we so often self-select ourselves. We talk ourselves out of doing something or getting educated and exploring, is this a good option for me and my family? Why is Puroclean ideal for veterans in that regards?
Well, through our PuroVet program, we do help with some financial incentives. As I mentioned earlier, we have discounted franchise fee. So what you pay to get into the system has a discount associated to it. But we also assist with veteran-focused financing, right? So we have through vendor partners and through dealing with the SBA, because we're a reputable brand in the restoration space, then these financing options become available, and we're backed by the SBA. The SBA knows who we are as a franchise system, and that our reputation precedes itself, and we help veterans get into the space. Just like any franchise system, there's always going to be an investment, but we feel that the investment that you have to get into a Puroclean franchise is reasonable for somebody coming out of the military, because you've dedicated service, you've dedicated time, you've dedicated your life to serve, and we just want to help you achieve now greatness through business and providing you ways to reach those goals.
George, if I'm listening to this and I'm intrigued as a veteran of maybe I've always wanted to be in business, maybe franchising, maybe the restoration business is something I ought to explore. What's the process? Can you explain how veterans get started into this?
Absolutely. So the first step is always reaching out to us through our website, as you've mentioned, and letting us know that you're interested. Once we receive your information, then somebody's going to reach out to you and give you a broad overview of what Puroclean is, what the industry is, what the space that we operate in is, and what are some of the intricacies of being a franchise owner. We then provide you an opportunity to speak to other franchise owners through our brand ambassadors, right? These are actually franchise owners just like UL that give you an unfiltered view of what the brand is and what Puroclean is all about. If you're a veteran, then we try to connect you a brand ambassador that's also a veteran, because you have that connection and you have that understanding of what the transition looks like. Once you do the brand ambassador call, we then move you into qualifying, and that's where all the financing and everything comes into play. And then once that's approved, then our executive team reviews your portfolio and says, yes, we want this person to be part of our brand. We offer you an opportunity to become a franchise owner, and then you sign your franchise agreement, and then the next phase starts of initial training, and you go to our training center in Tamarack, Florida for 3 weeks. And then after that, it is hand-holding, helping you get through this process for about 6 to 7 months until you start getting traction on your own. But really, from the beginning of when you graduate and when you open your franchise, you're serving the community. You're out there serving the community. We're guiding you and in ways to help. So it is a very guided process.
I do know that Frank Torre, who's the vice chairman of Puroclean, his father was a Marine, and this really resonates with him. He kind of, anybody whose dad's a Marine, you've kind of got that built into your DNA. And, he's stated to me that he really values discipline, leadership, and community. and he views PuroVet program as a way to honor that legacy by giving veterans the tools to thrive in their next chapter. UL, you've gone in 4 years' time to 2 different locations, expanding the business. Talk a little bit about those tools that you've got to thrive into this next chapter after you've retired from the Army.
Well, the tools I would suggest to you, I think there's some intangibles, and the intangible, are things that most of your veterans that have served already have, and that's the selfless service and doing what's right with the integrity. Those are really, really important, and dealing with the community. If you don't like dealing with people, then they think the business for you. I think that your average vet, they're about, again, that service, and service to the community is really important. I think some of those tangibles that for me, with Puroclean was the training. There's and George mentioned it a minute ago, which was going to Tamarack again. That's, as a military guy, hey, that's another TDY. There's TDY on your dime. You're going there essentially for some training, and some of that training, it's very, especially if you've had no experience in the restoration industry, was very valuable. And the facility, top-notch facility, and giving you some hands-on. We're not talking about just looking in the book and theories and concepts. We're talking about going through the book, taking tests, taking quizzes, and getting out there with and doing the hands-on stuff. Really, really crucial in setting you up for success. And then add on to it, they've got just the other things that again make the difference, and that's the ongoing continuing ed. The Puroclean Academy, bar none, is one of those tools that I use to this day in bringing in, onboarding my new people, giving them the opportunity to see what the Puroclean brand is all about, and giving them some experience, all within the comfort of at a desk or their own home. And then I would say the other thing that is also crucial, and George mentioned about holding your hand. Well, I don't need anyone holding my hand. I like making decisions. I mean, I love it. Much like I probably like to talk, but I like making decisions. But with that, though, they have RDs, regional directors that are out there to provide that crucial assistance. Again, kind of an extension of corporate and staff, but there to provide you some of their expertise, because they've been there, done that, and providing that additional onboarding with Puroclean. I mean, again, very vital to some that hey, maybe you don't know what all you need to do to be successful, and providing that support, in my opinion, is just crucial. And that's kind of what I would say to that.
Let me wrap this up. George, if folks are interested, where would you direct them?
We'll definitely have them start out with Puroclean.com and click on the franchising tab on the website. Once you get into that system and you provide your information, you could definitely get connected with our franchise development team, and they're going to guide you through the entire process and get you to where you will be making a decision of whether you're joining our team or not.
And UL is a business owner now of 4 years with a couple of locations. What advice would you give, final advice here, would you give to your fellow veterans who are thinking about this?
Do your homework. Again, do what you do best, which is problem solve and figure out what makes best sense for you. And I'm not saying you got to come up with a deck map, but hey, that's what I did. I came up with a decision matrix, and I had some non-negotiables in there, and I did what was best for myself and my family. So do your homework and look at the industry, and that's the tangible. The intangible is search yourself. If you want to make that impact, and you want to be, again, a player, a responsive player in your community, hey, this is the way to go.
Well, I want to thank both of you Army veterans for spending some time with Veterans Radio today, talking about Puroclean and the restoration industry. Guys, thanks for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate the opportunity, sir. So thank you very much.
And I want to thank everybody for listening to Veterans Radio today. I am Jim Fausone. It's been a pleasure to be your host. I'm a veterans disability lawyer at Legal Help for Veterans, and you can reach us at 800-693-4800 or legalhelpforveterans.com on the web. You can follow Veterans Radio on Facebook and listen to its podcasts and internet radio shows
by visiting us at veteransradio.org. That's veteransradio.org. We again want to thank our national sponsors, the National Veterans Business Development Council, nvbdc.org. Legal Help for Veterans, a veterans disability law firm with a national practice before the VA, can help you on your claims and your appeals. It can be reached at legalhelpforveterans.com or 1-800-693-4800. And Puroclean, a leader in property emergency services. It's the paramedics of property damage, providing water damage remediation, flood water removal, fire and smoke damage remediation, mold and biohazard cleanups. You can reach them at puroclean.com or 800-775-7876. We also want to thank our local sponsors. This would include the Charles S. Kettles chapter of the Vietnam Veterans of America, that's chapter 310, VFW Graf O'Hara Post 423, the American Legion Irwin Preskin Post 46 in Ann Arbor as well, the VA Ann Arbor Healthcare System, and certainly the National Vietnam Veterans of America Association. You can be a sponsor by going to veteransradio.org, clicking on the About Us and our sponsors, and help us out. Keep this program alive for the 21 and 22 years. Keep us going for another 20. Thank you.